Bob Cooper's first taste of survival in the wild began in his teenage years. His careers in fishing and diving provided him with first-hand knowledge about working with nature. Bob and his team have helped many Australians to learn how to embrace and respect our wildlife instead of being afraid of it.
So Bob, what inspired you to write your survival guide?
It was my contribution to people having a safer and with safety is a more enjoyable trip into the Outback, overseas, a day walk or a long expedition. To share my knowledge with as many people as I can for everyone's benefit.
Bob's book, Outback Survival, is full of tips on how we can deal with even the most frightening situations, which might include snakes or even the dreaded stonefish.
The biggest reason we get away with non-fatal snake bites is venom to snakes is a precious material. It's only injected when they have to. It's a voluntary action. It's there for pre-digesting their prey and for incapacitating their prey. It's got nothing to do with incapacitating humans. And because all our snakes are members of a group called the elepid snakes, their fangs are short, so any venom that does get injected will travel through the lymphatic system. And the application of the compression bandage, like the ones we've got over there, have ensured that not a single death by snake bite has occurred in Australia once the bandage has been applied.
I've been involved in being stranded in the desert a couple of times. 3 maydays on the ocean, 1 helicopter mishap. And the helicopter mishap was probably the most spectacular because flying at 500 feet and having the motor start to stop is pretty scary. And the pilot saved our life by doing what they call a gyro rotate, and they let it fall and then level out just before impact, which I didn't know about. So I thought, here it is, this is the end. And then we were stranded in the Great Sandy Desert, and this was in 1982, so there was no EPIRBs and no satellite phones, and the battery had cooked itself, that's why we had to land. So between 36 and -3 during the day and night, we needed to get out of there, and I had to employ my survival skills. So as an instructor, I had to practice what I preached, and we walked out and we got help and we drove back in, and it didn't even make the media.
So where do you think would be a good place for beginners who've never been out into the bush before to start?
Attend a course if you can, and if not, do research. Read my book. There's an obvious answer, but the rehearse stuff, even if it's just a mind game, improves your chance of survival by at least 10%. And by reading books on survival and doing some research into the area they're going, then you at least can be prepared for what might go wrong. And it can. Anybody can have a mishap, and what we don't want to do is turn a mishap into a tragedy, which is what I've seen happen in our outback in Western Australia far too many times, and the outback of Australia too many times.
And where would be your favourite holiday spot in Australia?
The place I like to visit the most is the Great Sandy Desert in August, when it's a beautiful flowering season, it's not hot. And the reason behind that is because I had so much experience out there and had some life-changing experiences, for instance that helicopter mishap. And the sheer isolation is just beautiful. But it's one of my favourite places. I haven't got an unfavourite place. I love them all.
Bob's book, Outback Survival, is available at all leading bookstores, and I, for one, definitely recommend it. This is Gina Hallsworth reporting for Undercurrent.